What is up, everybody? It is I, Ronin, and today I'm coming at you with a relearning how to play. Actually, it's been a while since I've done one of these. But yeah, relearning how to play Dream Mirror. So Dream Mirror came out with some fairly new support. I haven't really tested it out until the most recent wave where we got this cool fusion monster. But yeah, so let's go right into it. But before we start, just want to say I'm sorry for no video last week. Just starting back at school, and I have an internship now, and things are a little crazy right now. So every now and then, I'm going to be just not uploading because it's really hard to keep track of everything sometimes. But yeah, so Dream Mirror. So let's talk about Dream Mirror. If you are unaware, essentially the way they work is you have the monsters. They want to special summon themselves. And in order to do that, they tribute themselves while you have one of the field spells on the field, that being Dream Mirror of Terror or Dream Mirror of Joy. We'll start with Terror because it is the better one. So they both have effects that during the end phase you can banish it from the field to activate the other field spell from your hand or deck. This is a hard once per turn. And Dream Mirror of Terror's unique effect is that each time your opponent special summons monsters, it burns them for 300. This is only applied while you control a Dark Dream Mirror monster. Dream Mirror of Joy makes it so that Dream Mirror monsters you control cannot be targeted by opponents' card effects or their monsters' attacks, except for Dream Mirror monsters at the highest level. This only applies while you control a Light Dream Mirror monster. So each sort of correlates to the other, and the monsters have the ability to tribute themselves to swap between their counterparts, which is a little nice, a little bit nice. But now we'll get into the deck's sort of bread and butter, the monsters. So you have the dark ones and the light ones. They each have an effect that if you have them out with the non-attribute appropriate field spell, you can tribute them, summon the sort of opposite one from the deck, like you're switching between the reflections, which is pretty cool. So we'll go over them all in pairs, I think. So first we have Morpheus. Whenever Light Morpheus is special summoned by a monster's effect, it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects that turn. And whenever Dark Morpheus is summoned by a Dream Mirror monster effect, you can target a card on the field and destroy it. Next up, we have Thanatos. Dark Thanatos, when it's special summoned by a Dream Mirror monster effect, can attack directly for that turn. And Light Thanatos, when it is summoned by a Dream Mirror monster effect, can revive a Dream Mirror monster from your graveyard, which is pretty good. Then we have our Icalos. So Dark Icalos, when it's special summoned by a Dream Mirror monster effect, special summons a Dream Mirror monster from your hand except for itself. Then Light Icalos, whenever it is summoned, lets you add a Dream Mirror card from your deck to your hand except for itself. And then the only other Dream Mirror we have, and the sort of unique one, is Oneri, the Dream Mirror Emissary. So it's pretty cool because it does not have a counterpart, but it can special summon itself so long as you control a Dream Mirror monster, at which point you can change its attribute if you would like from light to dark. And it has two effects depending on which field spell is out. So if Dream Mirror of Joy is on the field, it lets you return a spell trap your opponent controls to the hand. If Dream Mirror of Terror is on the field, you draw a card, then shuffle a card from your hand into the deck. It is a hard once per turn. Surprisingly very good, actually. It helps unbrick you, can let you search for things. Basically all of the Dream Mirror monsters are hard once per turns for some reason, so it's a good way to get dead cards out of your hand, and yeah. So, but generally speaking, long story short of this is, the best ones are Light Thanatos and Dark Mara, and Dark Icalos, because they're the only ones that give you alternate ways to special summon your Dream Mirror monsters. Yeah. Our only other monster is Watchcat because it lets us potentially search some continuous spell traps, which we actually want because now we can go into our actual spell trap lineup. So starting with the actual Dream Mirror cards, we already went over Terror and Joy. Next up, we have our Searcher, Dream Mirror Phantasms. When it's activated, you can add a Dream Mirror monster from your deck to your hand. And while Joy is on the field, all monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense. And while Terror is on the field, all monsters your opponent control lose 500 attack and defense. It is a hard once per turn, but it unbricks you hard. It searches your Oneri, or if you have a Dark Iklos, you can summon that turn, lets you set it for that, so it's very good. The only other spell we have is Dream Mirror of Chaos, which is the fusion spell. It's a quick play, which is pretty nice. And it lets you fusion summon Dream Mirror Fusion from your extra deck using monsters you control as fusion material. If you activate it while Joy is on the field, you can use monsters from your hand as well. And if you do it while Terra is on the field, you can use monsters from your graveyard as well, further making Terror the better of the two field spells. Now for our traps, we have one Metaverse because, we want to sort of get our field spells as much as we can. Free Dream Mirror Fantasy, which is a normal trap, which if you control a Dream Mirror monster, lets you target banished one copy each of the banished field spells, return them to the deck, and if you do, banish a card on the field, and you can banish it from your graveyard in order to avoid a destruction on a Dream Mirror monster. So, yeah, it's really, really good, actually. The only other one we have is Dream Mirror Hypnagogia. It lets you choose a Dream Mirror, Joy, and Terror from your hand or deck and activate them in both field spell zones, you and your opponent. So, yeah, honestly, it's not bad. It gives you both of your Dream Mirror field spells, which is pretty nice. So you get all the effects. But, yeah, no, pretty good way to get your field spells out. Only other spells we have is 1-for-1 because our good monsters are level 1. Pot of Extravagance because we don't really go into the extra deck much anyways, though there are variants that could, and Terraforming because this deck lives or dies by its field spells. Now for our extra deck, it's mostly pretty easy stuff. We run multiples of things because Pot of Extravagance, so Link Karibo for all of our level 1 monsters, Barricade Board Blocker because it will let us search our phantasms, Nightmares because a little removal is always nice. Now we get into the actual fusion monsters, which is Oneris, the Dream Mirror Faking, and Oneris, the Dream Mirror Earl King. So we'll start with the newest one, which is our Faking. So it requires 2 Dream Mirror monsters with different attributes. Earl King does as well. And while it's face up on the field, it's also light attribute. Earl King has a similar effect where it's also dark attribute. That is where their effects start to differ, though, each having effects based on sort of field spell stuff. So first, though, Faking. Once returned, when a monster effect is activated while you control Dream Mirror of Terror, you can negate that effect. If Joy, you can quick effect tribute it in order to special summon Earl King from your extra deck and defense position. Earl King makes it so that if another monster you control is tributed except during the damage step, you can target something on the field, pop it, and if it's destroyed in its owner's possession by an opponent's card, you can special summon a Dream Mirror from your grave except for itself, so you could potentially re-loop back into Faking and then use the effect to get your Earl King out again, and it actually makes a kind of interesting loop. But yeah, so that's basically the deck except for the sideboard, I guess, which is pretty basic. Just free Nibiru because Dragon Link, free Ash in case we go up against a rogue thing that is stopped by a single, Ash, 2 Lightning Storm in order for a little bit of board clearing, 1 Feather Duster because that's a thing we can do now, free Dark Ruler no more to stop Dragon Link harder, 1 Called by the Grave in case we ever feel like we super need it, 1 Field Barrier in the instance that we actually get Hypnagogia Field Barrier off, and 1 red reboot for the trap heavy matchup. But yeah, that's the deck. I would normally go over a little bit of a sort of combo plays here though, but it is really more of a toolboxy type strategy, so yeah, there isn't really a solid combo line or anything you need to go off of. But yeah, no, if you're new here, we just go over a few replays. I show you what the deck does well, what I think it doesn't do well, etc. and so forth. And this time, actually, there's only going to be 1 replay. But you will see sort of the deck being somewhat strong in its plays off, but ultimately losing because it doesn't play through negates whatsoever. But you all are going to see that in the replay, so I will see you there. Okay, in the replay of Knight, we are tab as usual, and our opponent is playing a Phantom Knights deck and has opened up. He opened Foolish and Phantom Knights. That's usually just game, I think. But yeah, so we will be going first, and we didn't open terribly here, actually. And you do want to go first with this deck. Need to make that clear. If we can draw into a field spell, we are honestly super good here. But yeah, let's go and get right into it. So we are going to go ahead and start with Extravagance, as you do. We are going to go ahead and draw the Dream Mirror of Terror. Not necessarily ideal, but perfectly fine, I guess. It at least sets up our Dream Mirror Fantasy if we want to, as well as potentially our Dream Mirror of Chaos. But so we're going to go ahead and activate Dream Mirror of Terror, set a few, pass it up. Then it's going to go to the point where we are going to go ahead and activate Joy from our deck, which is going to then banish itself to reactivate Terror. So the effect is still because we control a Dark Dream Mirror. We have our Metaverse to switch field spells if we ever need to, and our Fantasy is live. So pretty good turn, pretty okay. However, it is now going to go to our opponent who has drawn free gloves. He's going to activate the Foolish. We'll chain our Metaverse to go ahead and hot swap into our Dream Mirror of Joy, so we'll be able to get a search during our turn. So he's going to send the Cloak. We'll chain our Dark Ichlos to it to summon Sprite from the deck, which will give us a search. And we're going to go ahead and search for our Phantasms for the next turn. And with Joy now on the field, our Chaos can be activated here and summon stuff from hand. However, our opponent is going to go ahead and search a Silent Boots off of the Cloak to start to make some plays. He's going to make the Cherubini, which we are going to banish right quick. Then he is going to continue to do plays, and we are going to just summon our Oneros, the Dream Mirror Faking, as another way to potentially get a float. However, our opponent is going to send Tear Scale and go ahead and search another Fog Blade. So he is going to start sort of comboing off, shuffle his stuff back, get the draw with Fragile Armor to go ahead and get yet like another search and grab back from the graveyard. Then he's going to make the Phantom Knights of Breaksword. We are going to go ahead and tribute into our Earl King. He is going to go ahead and try to pop our Earl King. We are going to be banishing our Dream Mirror Fantasy in order to protect it. However, he is going to get the proc off of the Breaksword, getting back his Tear Scale as well as gloves. He's going to now go ahead and just attack over our Earl King, which will float us into our Thanatos, which is good because it will tribute us into stuff from our graveyard. I do make a misplay here. So we're going to go into our Thanatos, revive our Light Ichlos, and the misplay is that I forgot that Ichlos was a hard once return. I should have waited. I was worried about waiting until my next turn just because I knew he had at least one Fog Blade in hand. However, he is going to set free and pass. We're going to switch into our Mirror of Terror, so our tributes are live again. So now we're going to draw. Go ahead and use Thanatos' effect to hot swap out. He is going to use rank up launch to get the rank 5 Requiem thing. We are going to summon our our Dark Thanatos from deck, which can attack directly this turn. Then we're going to activate Dream Mirror Phantasms to go ahead and search for our Light Morpheus, which we're going to go ahead and try to summon Mara for our Dark Ichlos from the deck to summon the Light Morpheus from our hand, at which point we were going to tribute it to summon Dark Morpheus and blow something up. However, we get negated, so that kind of ended that whole plan. So we're just going to attack directly for a little bit of damage, set that, and go ahead and power up our Thanatos, which we'll be able to tribute for Light Thanatos to go ahead and just get something back out of our graveyard for a little more defense. He is, however, going to negate our Light Thanatos, and at this point just summon some monsters and continue to sort of go forward. So yeah, he's just going to attack for game here, really. And I feel like that was a good demonstration of the deck, because this deck potentially makes plays and combos and like actually can do things now. It can do things now. So it is better than my sort of initial go through with this deck. The issue is it still loses to like a single negate. Cause yeah, no, I feel like I was playing really, really well against this guy, and he was kind of just, I don't know, making some pretty standard plays, I think. But at the same time, this deck just isn't really good enough to last against anything that can put up anything that can stop its plays. I would say it's definitely a fun casual option now if you are just sitting around and want to do something kind of wacky and neat. But competitively speaking, it's just not viable at all because it has to go first, because if it goes second, then it just kind of stops. But yeah, so fun deck, just not a very good deck anymore, which is a lot better than my first go through with this deck. But yeah, let me know what you think. Is there anything I could improve? Any major misplays I made besides the one I openly admitted to? Anything that, would make this deck run better or worse? I want to hear from you guys. But yeah, all that being said, like if you liked, comment if you have something to say, and subscribe if you want some more. This has been Ronin, signing off.